Hi, welcome to the Training Guy. So last week we talked about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how adding your moral, ethical perspectives to your program and focusing on the inclusion and the belonging part of your DEI program is just as important as the hiring policies and diversity itself. Let's talk about one group that is emerging is the neurodivergent folks that are out there. So if you're not aware of what neurodivergent is, it's also called neurodiversity. Um, and it covers a wide range of people that affect the way they think. And so this is often primarily used by autism and ADHD, but it also applies to dyslexia. With that understanding, I want to focus on the importance of neurodiversity in a diversity diversity policy. So you probably noticed that I have done a lot of editing on my videos. There's a reason for that. I am a neurodivergent person, and so I'm just going to put it that way. I'm not going to get into any details because there are other people that talk a lot more about what neurodivergence is, and they can provide more detail on that, and more power to them. I think that's great, and I love watching their videos. So please reach out to them and check out more about neurodivergence. Um, what I want to talk about is the importance of neurodivergence within an organization and then how you include them, particularly from a training perspective. So, neurodivergence means that the brain works differently, and oftentimes this um, is more evident in the way information is processed and how much information is processed at the same time. The articles that I'm going to be referencing for this are wide ranging, and I'm going to provide quite a few links in the description below. So feel free to click through and look at the research. But ultimately, engaging folks with neurodiversity means that you have to have a diverse approach to teaching. So in a standard training organization, and I'm going to go off of a lot of the standard training organizations that I worked at, you will have, for the most part, one type of delivery. So you'll probably have most of your courses are going to be done online or and recorded, and you have to click through them and whatnot, and then you just click through, read, and then answer a few questions, and then you're done. Um, just like a lot of your compliance training and stuff like that. You may have an organization where training is all done face to face. As you grow your team and you do this in live environments, um, those who are socially challenged with processing information and whatnot within a social environment will struggle with that. Um, with your compliance training, your online training and whatnot, that's 100% online. You watch a video and you answer some questions. Those that have problems processing stuff visually or even auditorially, because they're more tactile learners, are going to struggle because they're not able to do something. They're not able to translate that to an action, and therefore they're going to have problems with it. Those that are listening and then not able to process the information at the same speed are going to struggle, and so they're going to need some kind of transcript, which may not be available. So with all this in place, how do you approach training and including folks who are neurodivergent? Well, as you know, each individual type of training will not fit everybody. But if you diversify your training delivery, then you increase the number of people who feel included and are able to enjoy the same kind of training. So how would you do that? Well, if you have learning paths within your organization, and in those learning paths, they're required to take a certain training, and they absolutely have to take this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts because it has all the critical information. You want to give them options for that required training. And that is, it can be in person, it can be virtual, it can be virtual with access to an instructor to answer questions. You know, the various, you know, the various spectrums of hybrid learning can be used in order to include those with neurodivergence. You then want to make sure that any kind of testing or anything like that also takes into account those with neurodivergence, and provide plenty of time to complete tests if they're timed. You also want to make sure that you present the information or allow the information to be presented in multiple ways. So if it's written down, have a screen reader that's able to read the screen for those who have problems processing things visually, with visual forms of dyslexia, but can process it auditorially, hear it and process it and do it that way. And vice versa for those who struggle auditorially processing information but are able to read it better. Allow any videos or anything like that to have transcripts and be able to follow along and read the transcripts or download them. You also want to be able to have multiple speeds to your audio and your video so that folks can slow it down and watch stuff slower if they need to, or speed it up if they need to speed it up in order to get to the end faster and still process the information. I am a huge proponent for hybrid cohort programs. I love them. I think they're amazing. I think that folks can learn a lot because you are engaging each other as well as engaging with the facilitator, engaging with online training. There's just a lot that you're able to do that make these things that make learning fun and easy and more engaging for everybody, even those who are neurodivergent. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them out in the comments. I would love to read them and answer. Please note, as a caveat, I am not an expert in all things neurodivergent. I have my personal experience, and something that I have learned is that if you've met one person who's neurodivergent, you have met one person who's neurodivergent. Everyone is different. Everyone has different ways of processing things. So I may have said some things as generalities. Please note that was not my intent. I know that if you are neurodivergent, things are going to be different for you. The point that I'm trying to make is that the wider range of options that you provide, the more inclusion you're able to provide for those who are neurodivergent and do need to be able to process these things. Neurodivergence is on a spectrum, therefore we need to approach training on a spectrum. So if you like what you're hearing, go ahead and hit the like button, hit subscribe to get more information, and enjoy your learning journey.